Karen sprays pepper spray on my 3-year-old kid, unaware I'm the police chief. Welcome to Dabsy Stories. Drop a like on the video and subscribe so we can continue making videos like this one. I used to think our neighborhood was safe. I'm Chief Daniel Reyes of our small-town police department, and I live just 2 blocks from the playground. Saturday morning, I took my 3-year-old daughter Emma out for fresh air. She held her favorite stuffed bunny, hopping along the sidewalk to the swings. Parents chatted nearby. Birds chirped in the maple trees. Emma climbed into the swing and pumped her legs, giggling. I leaned against the fence, scrolling through dispatch updates on my phone. The coffee in my other hand was still warm. Nothing felt out of place. Then I heard a scream. It was Emma. I looked up and saw Karen Peterson charging across the grass. She gripped a small canister I knew too well. Pepper spray. "Kids aren't allowed here," she shouted. Her voice cracked. "You all break the rules." She raised the canister and sprayed. A cloud of orange mist formed between her and the swing set. Emma's laughter turned to terror. She dropped her bunny and covered her face. Her little body shook. She tried to rub her eyes, but only spread the burning mist across her cheeks. She screamed again, louder. I dropped my phone and coffee, sprinted forward. Neighbors stood frozen as Karen moved on to other children, her face red with anger. I burst between them. "Karen, stop this now!" I shouted, grabbing her wrist. My badge was clipped to my belt, but I didn't show it. Yet, I focused on Emma. "Emma!" I scooped her into my arms. Her face was streaked with tears and red welts. She gasped, "It burns, Daddy." I wrapped my shirt around her face and raced to the water fountain. Neighbors scrambled to help. One held Emma under the cool stream while I called for medics. The mist hung in the air, stinging my eyes too. Karen stumbled back, eyes wide. A mother tackled her. "You monster," she yelled. Others pinned Karen to the ground until I stood over her. I flashed my badge. "Chief Reyes," I said calmly. "You're under arrest." Karen looked from me to Emma, realization and horror mixing on her face. "You? You're the chief?" she stammered. I ignored her. "Assault on a child. Use of a chemical weapon. Endangering minors. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you." Officers arrived. Cuffs snapped onto Karen's wrists. Emma, now rinsed, clung to me, whimpering. Paramedics checked her over. No lasting damage, just painful red rash and tears that would fade. That night, Emma slept in my arms on the couch. Her cheek was bandaged, her bunny tucked under her arm. I held her close, heart pounding with guilt and anger. How could Karen do that to an innocent child? How did she think she could enforce rules with violence? Tomorrow, I'd press charges. Karen would face prison time. Our HOA would rewrite bylaws. No one could take the law into their own hands. And Emma, she'd learned that her daddy and our community would always protect her, because entitlement and fear have no place here. Only justice and kindness. The morning after the attack, our home felt hollow. Emma clung to her bunny, eyes red and swollen from the pepper spray. I sat on the couch beside her, soaking towels in cool water and dabbing at her face. My wife, Carla, hovered with a bowl of oatmeal she couldn't touch. The smell of burnt coffee still clung to the kitchen. Detective Alvarez came by mid-morning. He'd led the arrest on Karen Peterson. "We've got statements from 4 parents and 2 preschool teachers," he said quietly. "All confirm she sprayed more than just your daughter." He passed me his notebook. "She targeted 3 small kids and a teen who protested. We'll book her on multiple counts: assault with a chemical weapon, child endangerment, even reckless endangerment of a public space." I nodded, tight-jawed. Emma watched from my lap. Carla tucked a blanket around her. "Good," I said. "She needs to pay." At noon, I held a community meeting in the rec hall. It filled fast. Parents, seniors, even kids in backpacks craned to see me. I stood in front of the playground photos, one of Emma swinging, one blurred shot of Karen raising the spray can. I didn't hide my badge. "Neighbors," I began, voice steady. "Yesterday, we saw entitlement run wild. A private citizen wielded chemical force against children. That is wrong." Gasps and murmurs circled. I continued. "HOA rules don't give anyone the right to harm. Karen Peterson violated every code, our trust, our bylaws, state law. Tonight, the HOA board will vote on banning private enforcement actions and chemical deterrence on common grounds." Then I dropped the plot twist. And we discovered something else. Her HOA keycard shows she entered the playground via the maintenance door, bypassing all public access. She studied the security camera schedule. I displayed time-stamped video stills, Karen slipping in 30 minutes before the attack. This wasn't a moment of rage. It was planned. She used HOA database logs to target kids. Silence fell. A mother's sob broke it. She watched our children, she whispered. I closed with a pledge. As chief, I will enforce justice. As your neighbor, I vow no child here faces harm unchecked. Applause and relieved cheers filled the room. That evening at the emergency HOA meeting, Karen sat at the head table, tear-stained. Board President Mason cleared his throat. In light of new evidence, we're suspending Miss Peterson pending full investigation. Effective immediately, no individual may enforce rules alone. Any complaints go through elected board channels only. Karen tried to speak. Her voice cracked. I thought I was protecting families. You nearly blinded a child, Mason replied. That is unacceptable. They voted unanimously. Karen's keycard was deactivated, her board seat stripped. She slumped into her chair as neighbors filed out, head shaking. Back home, I tucked Emma into bed earlier than usual. She traced her hand along her cheek, still tender. Daddy, she said softly, will she come back? I kissed her forehead. No, baby, she can't hurt you anymore. Carla and I sat on the porch under the swing. Fireflies blinked. It's over, she said. It's just beginning, I replied. We have new bylaws to draft, state laws to propose. No family should fear the person next door. Neighbors waved as they passed. Emergency phone numbers for children and a new safe play hotline we launched sat on our porch table. The community had rallied. That night, I drafted the petition for state legislation banning chemical sprays in residential associations. It was simple. Any use of irritants on common property would be a felony. I hit share on our neighborhood app. Sign-ups soared. As I closed my laptop, I thought of Karen Peterson, once confident, now suspended, her life unraveling. Tomorrow, she'd face formal charges in court. And Emma? She'd sleep peacefully. Dawn light filtered through Emma's bedroom window as I carried her favorite stuffed bunny to the couch. Her cheek was still pink where the mist had settled, and her eyes fluttered as she drifted between sleep and tears. Carla sat beside her, tracing a gentle circle on her back. I brewed strong tea and thumbed through my phone. Hundreds of supportive messages, news alerts, and the HOA's emergency meeting minutes. By mid-morning, Detective Alvarez knocked. He carried new evidence, a roster of HOA enforcers, including Karen's name, and detailed logs of chemical orders she'd placed under an alias from an online security supplier. Not just pepper spray, he explained. She tested tear gas prototypes on neighborhood pets last month. My blood ran cold. The plot twist stung. Karen wasn't a lone loose cannon. She ran a private campaign of intimidation, experimenting on animals before targeting children. Those missing cats Mrs. Nguyen mentioned? Karen's field tests. That afternoon, I organized a neighborhood safety walk. Parents, kids, seniors all strolled the playground perimeter, sharing horror stories. Lawns salted to deter landscapers, motion-activated alarms set to 120 dB, and warning, drones flown over backyards broadcasting HOA propaganda. The crowd grew to dozens, flagging official maps where Karen's devices had been installed. At the HOA pavilion, the board president waited. I stepped forward. You failed us, I said, voice resonant. Karen weaponized chemicals, trespassed, abused animals, and attacked children, all under HOA cover. I presented Alvarez's dossier, purchase receipts in her alias, shipping labels traced to her home, and vet reports on injured pets. Board members exchanged guilty glances. One whispered, "We thought it was just noise complaints." I cut in. Noise complaints don't explain cages found in her garage or the anonymous tip about live experiments. A murmur rose as I laid out the final twist. A lab report from the state vet's office confirmed chemical residues in 5 neighborhood cats and 2 rabbits. Effective immediately, I continued, Karen Peterson is expelled, delicensed, and turned over to prosecutors. The board resigns en masse. I'm recommending criminal charges for each member who enabled her. They sank in their chairs, faces pale. Neighbors cheered. Children hugged parents. Mia, the teen Karen had also sprayed, showed me her scarred eyes. "Thank you for believing me," she said. I ruffled her hair. "Always." That evening, I drafted a state bill banning private chemical enforcement and requiring strict oversight of all HOA security actions. As I hit send to our assembly members, Emma crawled into my lap, clutching her bunny. "Will it be safe now?" she asked. I kissed her forehead. "Yes, baby. Safe and sound." Court day arrived under a stormy sky, matching the mood inside the packed courthouse. Carla and I sat in the front row, Emma between us, wide-eyed but clutching her bunny tight. Reporters crowded the vestibule, cameras trained on the defendant's entrance. Karen Peterson was escorted in, wearing a jumpsuit, wrists cuffed. Her hair was frazzled, eyes hollow. The judge called the case multiple counts of child endangerment, animal cruelty, assault with a chemical weapon, and conspiracy to terrorize residents. First, Detective Alvarez testified, detailing Karen's purchases of crowd control sprays, tear gas cartridges, and covert cameras. Next, the state vet described the cats and rabbits found injured, chemical burns in their eyes and lungs. Then came the families. One by one, parents recounted the terror. Children blinded temporarily, pets maimed, elderly neighbors targeted with no-wake alarms set to 130 dB, and drones broadcasting rules or else. When it was my turn, I rose, chief's badge glinting on my chest. Your Honor, I began, voice steady, this wasn't rule enforcement. It was a reign of terror. My daughter's innocence was assaulted. Our community's safety was a shambles. I ask you to impose the maximum sentence. The judge's gaze hardened. I do. He sentenced Karen to 25 years in state prison for weaponized assault and endangering minors, plus a $100,000 fine and lifetime ban from any homeowner association. Applause echoed as deputies cuffed her. She met Emma's eyes, a flicker of guilt crossing her face before guards led her away. Outside, rain had turned to a rainbow's promise. Neighbors hugged and cheered, umbrellas raised in solidarity. Carla lifted Emma onto her shoulders. We did it, she beamed. Emma blew a shy smile at reporters. Weeks later, the new community charter forbade any private enforcement without council oversight. Safety drills, approved cameras, and volunteer patrols replaced Karen's terror network. The playground, once the battleground, became a place of laughter again. One golden afternoon, I watched Emma guide new neighbors around the play structure. She waved at me and waved at the rainbow shining overhead. I realized then that justice wasn't just about punishment. It was restoring peace and trust. As I tucked Emma into bed that night, she whispered, Daddy, I wasn't scared anymore. I kissed her goodnight. Never again, sweetheart. Never again. The end.